These are teams where there's a lot of dog fight here, cat fight, lion fight. All the fights are happening here. Hello, good evening. This is Taiwan Ojobi, your host, and your analyst on Lanona's Maple Sports. I'm always happy to bring you guys some, unfiltered opinion and sharp analysis for Canadian hoops and ice. We're always excited to break down the NBA differently, CBL, and carve out some space for smart hockey talk across board. I'm your commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. I'd like to say this is 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. A good day, take a chance, and, try out something new, be brave, and make a difference. Today, I'm going to be going in a different direction entirely for the NBA. I'm not going to be calling out games like I always do, but I just wanted to do a mid-season snapshot that gives you an idea, because we're approaching the middle, of the season. We have teams that have played about 33 games, and we're approaching about 40, 41, and we'll be doing that by middle of February. At least by middle of February, we can say that we have gone above, the 40 game mark or 42 game mark by then. So we're not able to say clearly that we've been able to cover, a good number of matches, and we can see clearly which team is going to make a lot of noise in the postseason. I like to talk about looking at where there's lack of commitment for some teams, lack of superior coaching, lack of superior guidance, and just a structured way of looking at what are the things that help us to come together and say, okay, these are the teams that will be able to make a lot of noise in the postseason. And this is strictly as at the 12th of January, I decided to put this together. And just to, give you guys an idea, I'll put some on the screen so that you have a clear idea of what's really happening presently now in the NBA. The Oklahoma City's dominance is still you can't compare any team to their dominance. They are still playing very well. They have the best record presently in the league. And they are doing about 0.825. They have elite point differential of about plus 13.0. That's very good. And they have a ridiculous 26-6, which means in their conference alone, they've won 26 and they've lost 6, which is a very, very good one for them. So presently, this is the title favorite profile for me. If you look at the way they are playing, you can tell that this team, they have what it takes to be able to get to the final without any hiccups or higgy haga. So this record that we're doing was as at 40 games rather, not so I'm trying to correct what I said earlier about waiting till February for us to get to the end of the season. As at the 12th of January, we can tell clearly that they've played about 40 games. Some have played 41, some have played 39. So they played about 40 games. So this is a mid-season snapshot compared to what I said earlier. It's just the conference record that looks a bit different. So every conference has played about 30 games amongst fellow members of their conference. So that's a quick correction I decided to make. So I see that there's a clustered contender tier, especially the tier 2, because there are a lot of teams that are sitting between 0.580 and 0.740, which means it's difficult for us to say this team is going to finish second. So from second to like the 7th or 8th, a lot of things can change, over the weeks. So it's very difficult for us to just decide that, okay, we've concluded that this team is going to be second. So there's no clear favorite for second across both leagues. So the offense of the league has also gone up. Many teams are scoring between 116 and 122 points per game. The defensive discipline varies, especially when you're looking at Eastern Conference, a little bit more on the teams that are on the winning side. You can tell that defensive discipline has varied so far. And there's a lot of parity in the middle. If you're looking at teams that are between the 6th and the 16th seed, they are separated by only a few games. You understand? So if you look at the playoff race right now, it's going to be chaotic because a lot of teams are going to be in a dog race. A lot of people are going to be fighting between now and the next couple of weeks. And because of the way NBA is going, the top tier contenders are going to be considered true contenders between now and the end of the season. Especially with looking at my top tier, let's just ride on with the numbers to give you an idea of what's going to happen in postseason. The Oklahoma City Thunder presently have 33-7 in their record, and that's as of 12th of January. This recording has been done on 13th of January, so I just got off watching their game with the San Antonio Spurs, and they have just won that game, and that means that they are they've played 41 games this season. That's automatically like middle of the season, and they are presently having points per game of 121.4. They're scoring very high with plus 13 on their differential. So the best team in the league by a margin can conveniently just be your Oklahoma City team because they are playing well. They've won 19 and lost 2 in their last. No, they've won 20 now and lost 2 in their last 22 games, which shows that they are playing at a very high level. Number 2, which is the number 1 team in the East, is the Detroit Pistons. They are 28-10, and you see that they are not really as good as the OKC based on the records. Their points per game are 117.8. They are also scoring a lot of points. And their differential is about plus 6.6, which is good. For me, they are a shock contender any day, anytime. Anybody talking about them never talked about them at the beginning of the season. They just came with a different energy and they're surprising everybody, and they continue to stay as number 1 for a while. I like the elite balancing and their strong division play. They are playing members of their division as well. So they are doing so well. On my list, the third team is the San Antonio Spurs, who have won 27 and lost 12. If I add the game I've just watched, they would have lost 13 now, so it will be 27-13 with about 118.1 points per game. There's a difference of plus 5.5. They have strong home and away splits. If you look at it well, in all cylinders, they are also consistent in their offense. Now, because Wembanyama is healthy, they are really having a good run. I hope he stays that way because I want to see Wembanyama play in the postseason. And this team is going to show us a lot of surprises in the postseason. Denver Nuggets, their big man, still not 100%. Their record is 26-13. They've won 26 games. And their points differential, which is point per game, they are doing 122.7, which is even higher than Oklahoma. So they are scoring more points than Oklahoma just by 1 point, like 1.3. And their differential is about plus 5.2 because for me, they are the best offensive team amongst all the contenders. They are shaking everybody because they are putting up a lot of points. And I've always said something a couple of weeks ago because Jamal Murray is also healthy. And a lot of people should not take that for granted. He's going to continue to put up big numbers till when Jokic comes back. Minnesota Timberwolves are the next on my list. They are 26-14 with 119.9 on points per game and plus 5.1. They are solid, but the last 10 games, I've not seen that consistency that I've been pushing for to see from them. But I know that they can make a lot of noise as far as everybody's healthy. So for me, in this first tier, which I consider tier 1, the OKC team is in a different level. In hockey, we have the Colorado Avalanche, but here the Oklahoma City team is in a different level. They are separated from every other person. Detroit and San Antonio are surprise teams, very elite, but nobody talked about them. Nobody saw them getting to this level. Denver and Minnesota are dangerous, but very volatile. They can still lose some matches. They lost some matches that were big surprises to me too, and that can continue to happen. So, but they are still elite and very dangerous, very competitive, but sometimes volatile. On the second tier, these are teams I consider playoff locks. They will definitely get into the playoffs, but I don't consider them my favorites yet. None of them fall within my favorites yet, but they have that strength and capacity to make a lot of noise. So the Knicks, New York Knicks, 25-14, they are the NBA Cup champions. They definitely would be disrespected if I don't put them in the second tier. They are still a good team. Strong home record, but they need a lot of improvement on the road. A lot of improvement on the road. They played better in New York so far, but outside New York, they struggle. The Lakers are 23-14. For me, this Lakers is a red flag team. Beginning of the season, the way they were playing, they were even without LeBron James, they were looking very good. They were winning, despite negative differential, they were winning bets. For me now, it's a red flag because I've studied the team if two of their key players are injured, there's problem. Austin Reeves got injured and missed some games, and the team just looked like it now looks like Austin Reeves is the second best player on the team. You understand? So, from what I'm seeing, they are winning despite their negative differential, but they are a red flag for me. They they will fall when they face adversity. That's exactly what it is. They are, for me, the team does not have that strong alignment yet compared to the teams in the top tier I'm talking about. So they're a red flag for me. Celtics 24 and 15, their defense is elite. They are putting a lot of 3 points up. They are scoring very, very well now. I think they are second or third when it comes to 3 points made so far, compared to or dividing 3 point attempts. So 3 point percentage, they are playing very, very well now, even though they just lost their last two. But they are playing very well. So the thing is, nobody expects too much from Celtics, and that's why they are going out and they are thriving when everybody look down on them, especially when people think that they are the underdog. They come out and they, get some wins. Phoenix Suns are a big surprise, very dangerous. I'm happy for them because they had to break the big three. Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. They had to just let those two go, and since then the team has gone upward. They're trending upward. Even as I speak now, they have a better record than the Rockets. Even though they lost to the Rockets less than 2 weeks ago, they still have better record. They have won 24 games and lost 15, and they are plus 2.9, and they are very, very dangerous. Devin Booker is the clear leader of the team. I thought he was a bit too young to lead the team, but right now I'm seeing something different. Dylan Brooks has improved the team. Everybody knows their role, and I like the new coach. Is really gelling with these new guys, and they are playing very well. I like it. The next team within the second tier, these teams, remember I said will have playoff locks, but they are not favorites yet. They still need to play together and show me something different. Rockets are 22 and 14. This is still good because all these teams are over 500. They have the best differential in this tier. For me, in this tier, Rockets will be the leader of the pack, in this tier. And for me, they are underseeded sleepers because they have elite. Once a team has Kevin Durant, the team is an elite team and they can challenge for anything. So for me, I call them an underseeded sleeper. They can move to tier one in another few weeks. All they just need to do is just get some wins and, play very, very well against winning teams. And I can now put you back in my tier one. So the takeaway for me is the Rockets for me, they are the most underrated team, and that's why I put them in my tier two in the league on differential. And the Lakers are the most overrated because I expect too much from Lakers. They should be in tier one, but now they are in tier two. And, it's really not their fault. They are gelling with some new guys. I like the way JJ Redick is really allowing a lot of those young guys develop. I didn't expect Jack LaRavia to be playing, the LaRavia guy to be playing at this level. So I believe that the team still has what it takes to make some noise in the postseason, but they definitely cannot match OKC and San Antonio Spurs. So the middle tier, which for me I call them the playing battleground. These are teams where there's a lot of dogfight here, cat fight, lion fight. All the fights are happening here. And these are teams that are around 500. They could swing either way. They can make things happen, Some of these teams have depth, so that depth can also help them. And remember, this depth now, I'm not talking about the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Pacific Ocean now. The Raptors are 24 of 17, over 500 team, playing so well. They are plus 1.6, and I like what I'm seeing. The 76ers are 22-16. Magic 22-18, the Cavs 22-19, Warriors 21-19, Miami Heat 2019, Hawks 2021, Blazers 19-21, and the Bulls 18-20. For the Hawks, Blazers, and Bulls, they are below 500, but they are still in my playing battleground. Once any of these teams improves in the second half of the season, they could still enter my tier 2 or tier 1. Things can change. That was exactly what happened for the Indiana team last season. They just went on a run on their last few games to the end of the season, and they continued that momentum until they got to the final and they were defeated by OKC. But if not for that injury to Ali Burton, maybe it would have been a different story by now. But I like what I'm seeing from these guys. Playing is good, you can still say you have a good season. So the key takeaway is Toronto Philly, they both played yesterday, even though Philly defeated Toronto. But Toronto is still a good team. Cleveland, they've all had best statistical foundation to succumb this tiering and go ahead into a tier 2 or a tier 1. They have what it takes to rise above all these things I've talked about. Atlanta is the most unpredictable, even though they have just sold Trae Young, and it looks like they have some new stars that are coming up. But the way it is going now, Atlanta Hawks can surprise anybody. So watch out for them as they go on. So we have teams that are declining and underperforming. Don't get me wrong, some of these teams can still climb up. We still have more than 41 games for some teams, 41 games for some other teams. And within those 41 games, a lot of things can change. All you need to do is just secure 20 wins together with what you have. And you may just be in the play-in, or even maybe the last spot in the playoff, which is the 6th seed. The Grizzlies are declining. They are really going downward. A lot of things need to change. The Milwaukee Bucks are going down, and I see the reason why Giannis is a bit worried as well. But they could still make it into the play-in. The Clippers, they had a couple of wins. They were bouncing back up. And shout out to James Harden for moving up to the 9th position in all-time NBA scoring leaders. I'm really happy because the kind of work these players put in to get that longevity, play 17, 18, 20 years in the league. It's not so easy. Sometimes we just see them, walking into the gym and we feel they're not putting in a lot of work. This is an avenue or a platform in which we need to be able to give them their flowers and say, shout out to you guys. You have moved to the 9th all-time, scoring leader. You've gone above Shaquille O'Neal. And Shaquille O'Neal had a wonderful career as well. So for you to go above him, it means that you are doing something right. Shout out to you. Shout out also to Russell Westbrook as well. He's also in top 15. And these are two other active players that are chasing Kevin Durant and LeBron James as well, who is still playing actively. So we have about 4 active players in top 15, that are still, trying to see, whether they can enter the top 5. And if they continue like this, maybe James Harden could be a top 5 scoring, it could be a top 5 in NBA all-time scoring before even he retires. But, shout out to him. It also reflects that he's doing something right. He's still a very talented player, even though there are some analysts that have talked about some of the issues he had on previous teams. But I don't really know what's really happening, at the background. But what I'm saying is I like his performance, and I'm giving flowers to the guy for being 9th, all-time top scorer on the list. And, I like the way he was able to do it because he wore his latest edition of his James Harden shoe, black golden shoe, and he was able to come up with a 3-pointer that made him move to number 9 on the list. Shout out to you, and keep putting on good numbers as well. So we have the Dallas Mavericks. Everybody understands what happened with Dallas Mavericks with their major change to their GM, basketball operations, and key injuries happening to Kyrie Irving and AD that has been, in trade talks all through. So the team has been going through a lot. They probably just need some time to recalibrate. And maybe the second half of this season, they can try and fight. But right now, they are underperforming. The Jazz are tanking. I like to use the word, they are really, really tanking. They should have been in my bottom tier, but they've also surprised me with some wins that I didn't expect them to come up with. They are 14-25 and minus 7.8 on my ranking. So the Jazz are the last in this declining team and underperforming team, just below the bottom tier, which is teams that are looking at rebuilding. I call that the rebuilding territory. Milwaukee and Memphis as the key takeaway for the tier that I've just talked about now, which is the underperforming tier. Milwaukee and Memphis are the biggest disappointments, looking at their expectations as well, and the talent load that we have on the team. They are my biggest disappointments in this group. Clippers, I know there was going to be some injury issues, looking at the fact that they also had to deal with Kawhi before the season. I will also add them to my underperforming and biggest disappointment because I'm also an LA Clippers fan. And, I just feel that there are some things that, they need to start. Even though they went on a 9-game winning streak, I think they were 9 of 10. After a while, they lost one game and later bounced back again because they won yesterday. But it shows that there's still some fighting spirit. All we just need is get them into the play. But Kawhi has also said it. I didn't just say it, that the team does not have enough talent to be able to challenge in the postseason. If Kawhi is as healthy as what we had in Toronto in 2019, then we can say that in the postseason some things can change. But right now there's too much talent in the league that even Kawhi himself is not healthy enough to be able to push what he did in 2019. Except a miracle happens, that's when we're going to get that same Kawhi we had in 2019. So for the bottom tier, where is the rebuild territory? I call it a rebuilding model team. We have the Hornets, and this is the king tanking area. This is the area of the teams that are really tanking. We have the Hornets at 14 of 26, Nets 11 of 26, Wizards 10 of 28, Sacramento Kings 10 of 30. Indiana is so bad because this is a team that was in the finals. 9 of 31, Pelicans 9 of 32. So the worst teams in the league now are the Pacers and the Pelicans, 9 of 31, 9 of 32. And, the key takeaway is the Wizards and Kings have the worst defensive profile. Not even these last two teams. You understand? The Wizards and the Kings, who have 10 and 28, 10 and 30, they are the worst defensive profiles in the league, The Pacers and the Pelicans are stuck in, for me, they are too bad enough to tank. I mean, they are not too bad enough to tank. Yeah, I know that they don't really have most of their key guys available, but they should at least be struggling for playing. They shouldn't tank this. It's not good enough to be in this zone for these two. So these are the two I'm disappointed in. The Pelicans and the Pacers, looking at the kind of talent they have, they shouldn't be in this rebuilding territory. So for me, there's a lot of improvement that needs to come in. And the other part of the statistical analysis and insights I looked at, just to give us a conclusive look about the teams. The best offensive team is still Denver with 122.7 points per game. I like what I'm seeing. But they give up about 117.5. So it kind of nullifies their offensive prowess. The best defensive team is still OKC with 108.4 on the up PPG, which is their elite two-way profile is very, very good. And that's a very, very good one for me. The hottest teams in the last 10 games, in my analysis, and I'll put that on the screen so you guys can see. The Rockets, and that's why I said they're a sleeper team. The Rockets have won 8 and lost 2. Clippers have won 8 and lost 2. Pelicans are the coldest. Yeah, they've won 1 and lost 9. So there's a lot of problem, in the Pelicans team, I hope they're able to get it right, but they still have 41 games to show us that they can fight for at least something and not call this a failed season. Teams that are most overrated are the Lakers. They're 23 and 14. Winning close games is what they are doing, but they are losing big ones. For teams that are above 500, when they play those teams, it's clear that they cannot compete at very high level. But if they play teams that you expect them to beat, they beat those ones. So the most underrated team by record is the Rockets. They are 22 and 14. They kind of, when you see the difference, you think they are a top 5 team. You understand? But right now, as I speak to you, as at the 12th of January, they are below top 5 in the Western Conference. And that's because the Western Conference is very tight. So there's still a lot of improvement that needs to be done. And, my projected playoff picture, based on some of the things I've talked about, just to cap it off, is my favorites to reach the conference finals. The conference finals can either be any of these 4. It can change, in a couple of weeks, but these are Landonas' outlook for the favorites to reach the conference final. The Oklahoma City, Detroit, San Antonio, and Houston. These are teams that are most likely to get to the conference final based on my own analysis. Things can change, but based on my own analysis, if I just want to add one more team here, I'll probably just say New York. You understand? So that at least we just have one more team in the East. But Detroit is the only team that really shows me that ginger. Teams that are likely to slide, Lakers, Blazers, and the Bulls. They are likely to slide. They are likely to go downward in the second half of the season. And a lot of people are going to say I said it. Just watch out. These are teams that are going to go down. Blazers will go down. The Bulls will go down. The Lakers will drop. And we're going to now see some of the things that they are dealing with. Teams that are likely to rise, Celtics will go up. The Houston Rockets will go up. The Cavs will also go up. These are teams that are playoff proven. Second half of the season, they are going to go upward. We're going to see a lot of changes in what's going to happen to these teams. Just watch out for these teams. They're going to go up in second half of the season. So looking at the playoff picture as at today, 12th of January, today's 13th of January, but I prepared this based on 12th of January. Eastern Conference as it is, automatic playoff seed. We have Detroit already automatically qualified, New York, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic is another good sensation, good season for them. If the season were to end today, they will be the sixth seed, and all the other teams I've talked about. Now, 7 to 10, which are playing teams, these are teams that will go into the playing tournament as at today, if the season were to end today. Cleveland, Miami, Atlanta Hawks, and Chicago. Two teams that have always fallen within this region in the last 2 years are the Miami and Chicago, and the Atlanta Hawks. Cleveland was number one last year. Orlando was the team I expected to be here, or the Toronto Raptors. But right now, the top six have Detroit, New York, Boston, Toronto, Philadelphia, and Orlando. While in the playing tournament, we have Cleveland, Miami, Atlanta Hawks, and the Chicago Bulls. Outside the playing season, if season were to end today, the teams that will go home and start their vacation very early: Milwaukee Bucks, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Washington Wizards, and the Indiana Pacers. Complete disappointment for me. There's a lot of work to be done in the second half of this season. In the Western Conference, automatic playoff seed 1 to 6. No surprises. We have Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, Minnesota, Los Angeles Lakers, and the Phoenix Suns. This is as at 12th of January. Even the Houston Rockets are not even automatic playoff seeds as at this date. It's tight in the Western Conference. So 7 to 10 in the play-in tournament, we have the Houston Rockets with a 22-14. On a good day, this kind of record should be a top 6, because the Phoenix Suns that are 6, they have 24-15. So we have 7 to 10 Golden State, we also have Portland, and we have the Memphis Grizzlies. They are all in the play-in tournament. So imagine these top teams fighting, you understand, in the play-in tournaments. So outside the play-in as of today, we have the LA Clippers. That's my team. Fortunately, I don't want to be here, but it is what it is. Dallas Mavericks, Utah Jazz, Sacramento Kings, and the New Orleans Pelicans. So for me, it's very clear, and this is the quick interpretation. Detroit is the clear number 1 seed, except something miraculously happened, maybe key injuries to some of their key players. The Knicks, Celtics, Raptors, they form a tight 2nd to 4th seed cluster. Things can change within that area. And remember that where you finish within the top 6 also determines who you're going to meet in the first and second round. So it also determines how competitive you will look like. So the playing race is crowded from seed 7 to 10. And that can change as well. Teams from top to 6 can also fall in with key injuries. So injuries has a way of changing things. And I keep saying that even from a lot of my previous videos. If key injuries happen, a lot of the teams that I'm praising today may turn the other side tomorrow. On the West, OKC is the best team in the entire league, and we expect them to get to the final again. Spurs, Nuggets, Wolves are fighting for their home court advantage, and that's why those positions will keep changing. Rockets are the most dangerous playing team, but we expect them to get back into the top 6 as well, because they played today. I couldn't catch up watching their games. The Kings and the Pelicans are effectively out. And I'm going to say that again. The Kings and the Pelicans are effectively out. This is a season for them to go back, reflect, make a few moves, and try again next season. They are effectively out. Thank you so very much for waiting till the end. We like to always bring, sharp analysis, unfiltered opinion. We don't like to, mix it up with anything. Unfiltered opinion across the sports. This is NBA Today. Thank you very much for staying till the end, and have a wonderful night rest. God bless you.